Okay, today I'm going to be opening up a Yost 34C vise. This is the largest, heaviest combo vise Yost makes. It's supposed to have a 10-inch opening. I want to say like 7+ inch jaw depth and 6 inches wide. So we're going to be opening this up and checking it out. It is made in Taiwan. There's no question there. As of right now, as far as I know, Yost only makes one vise still in the U.S., which is it's their 8-inch most rugged bench vise. I believe those are still made in the U.S. Those are like $3,000, maybe $2,400 depending. So this I got for $600, and it comes with a lifetime warranty. So I'm real curious to see how this thing stacks up. It said the shipping weight was 165 pounds. We'll see what the vise weighs once it's all unboxed and stuff. It's supposed to be ductile iron, good for 60,000 PSI and able to take hits a little bit better. We'll see how the shipping went. It didn't go super, but hopefully that's all that's poking out of there and everything's in the box. Over here in the background, I got an old Parker 89.5. This is a 5.5 inch jaw, but similar specs as far as how far it opens, throat depth, how big of a pipe it'll hold. So I'm curious to see how these two stack up. That one's 165 pounds, and it is not swivel base. This is a swivel base, and we'll see what the vise actually weighs once we get it all unpackaged and have a look at it. So let's see what this thing looks like, because I'm wicked curious. Alright, big thick packaging. Must have been rough for that thing to poke through. So it's all one piece. So I think I'm just gonna pull it out of the back in order to get at it, because it was heavy. It was getting this thing up on the bench. And that is a good size vise. Wow. Pretty good size lead screw here. I'd say probably about an inch looking at it. Jaws are pretty tight. Let's get this thing off the cardboard. Wow, this is a good sized vise, and it looks like it's designed to be able to go up to the edge or the corner and still have 4 bolts hold it in pretty rugged, so that's nice. Boy. Now I'm not familiar with the mechanism, so I'm going to tip this thing to see if I can see how it looks underneath. Of course I can't see it. So I haven't seen this before, but I like the design. Here's the bottom of it, and it's just a solid plate. and there's grips. I mean, the grips is pretty standard, but I like how the plate is completely solid. You know, loosen it, bring it back up and tighten it. Seems like a fairly sturdy design, and it's a little thicker here. I don't know if you can see that across where it's grabbing. So I can see there's a pin that's been driven in here, and that's holding the lead screw in. Let's take a look at our lead screw. And I still have a full nut on the lead screw right now. So you can see it does have a large opening. Alright, now I'm coming out of the lead screw with it. Out. Okay, so there's a retainer in here to hold the lead screw. But I can see one big difference right away. This lead screw is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got to be at least 5 threads per inch. Yeah, 5 threads per inch. That's the that's what this thing's cut at. So that Parker is 3 threads per inch. So we'll get a lot more mechanical advantage on the handle. So for the same amount of force. And let's see how thick that lead screw is. That lead screw is about 1 1/8 inches by the look of it. So that's a pretty hefty lead screw. And I don't know if you can see in here, but the vise nut's also pretty hefty. And then, like I said, you can see that it's held in by this pin that keeps it locked in place, and it's wedged, dovetailed to keep it so it's being held by this base. So hopefully that's a place where the ductile iron will help it out, because on a lot of the older vices, like the Parker that I've dealt with, that seems to be a place where they break, and because it's in the casting, if the thing's been really like reefed on, it's hard to fix that inside there without, getting creative. So let's weigh this thing and see how heavy she is. 148 pounds, 6 ounces for the whole kit and caboodle. So it's about almost 20 pounds lighter than the Parker, and it's on a rotating base, which usually that adds a little bit of weight. But this is supposed to be ductile iron, so we'll have to do some hammering on this thing and see how it likes it. I'll set it up, we'll do some vise comparisons at some point in the future, but that's our first look at the Yost 34C. Looking forward to using it. I know a lot of people are against, made in Taiwan And, you know, obviously that Parker's made in the USA. Yost used to be made in the USA. They only make one vise in the USA now. So I'm curious, you know, the quality of the materials and workmanship, but with an eyeball it looks nice. And the slide felt pretty tight. We'll have to have closer looks and maybe try grabbing and working on some different materials and see how they compare in terms of use. But seems like a nice vise to me. Depends on how hung up you are about made in the USA, but for $600 this is a lifetime vise. I'm very impressed by it for, you know, what I've seen right now. I was shopping Wilton, they have a tradesman now. I think it's a combo vise. It's 10-inch jaw. Actually, I think that has a 12-inch opening. Made in China. It's like 116 pounds, I believe. So I always wonder, like, how, you know, it's got to be weaker somewhere, right? Unless it's better materials, but I find that hard to believe being made in China. So I'd be curious to see how they stack up, but the cheapest I could find one of those Wiltons was $1,200. To get a Wilton combo vise, and I don't know if you can see this on the camera over here, I've got a Wilton C1. So they make a C2, a C0, a C1, a C2, and a C3. I'd love to get a C3, but I want to say that those are made in the USA and they're $3,500, and that's a pretty big difference. Like, you take the 3 off and I'm almost there. It'd be nice to do some comparisons there, and maybe one day I'll pick up a used C3 if the price is right and we can really put them up against each other. But for right now, Yost 34C and a Parker, 6 inches, 5.5 inches.